Greetings from the Boston area. I would like to begin by thanking each and every one of you for making time to attend this lecture. I had originally hoped to travel to Korea this fall and have the pleasure of addressing you in person, but the current global pandemic has unfortunately made that and so very much else impossible. I sincerely hope to be able to travel to Seoul in the future, as I would cherish the opportunity to meet you all in person and to engage in a collegial exchange of ideas. In the meantime, I am afraid that this pre-recorded lecture will have to suffice. Thank you in advance for your willingness to watch it from afar. I would next like to give you an overview of my lecture. I'm going to begin by situating the program in general education in the broader context of the Harvard College curriculum, which is a set of degree requirements that all undergraduates must complete. I will then briefly outline the origins of the current program in general education and spend the bulk of my time describing the program in great detail. By the end of our time together, you should have a good understanding of the current program in general education and its future direction. In the question and answer period following the lecture, I look forward to exploring aspects of the program that are of particular interest to you. I'd like to give you a sense of the institutional context in which the program in general education sits. As you are undoubtedly aware, Harvard offers students a liberal arts and sciences education, undergirded by a longstanding belief in the importance of both breadth and depth. Breadth is ensured by requiring that all students complete the Harvard College curriculum, while depth is achieved through the student's choice of majors, which provide them with a focused or specialized body of knowledge. As you can see on the slide, the Harvard College curriculum is composed of the following components: general education. The program in general education is the cornerstone of the Harvard College curriculum. General education courses focus on urgent problems and enduring questions and are unusually explicit in helping students connect the subjects they study to the people they will become and to the world beyond the classroom. Students take 4 courses of their own choosing in 4 different categories. These courses have all been designed specifically for the program. I will, of course, describe the program in great detail later. Divisional distribution. The divisional distribution requirement exposes students to the diversity of scholarly disciplines at Harvard. Students must complete 1 course of their own choosing in the Faculty of Arts and Sciences 3 main academic division: Arts and Humanities, Social Sciences, and Science and Engineering and Applied Science. Most courses in the Faculty of Arts and Sciences fulfill the divisional distribution requirement, but some introductory courses do not, such as beginning and intermediate language courses, expository writing courses, and freshman seminars. Quantitative reasoning with data. This requirement teaches students mathematical, statistical, and computational methods that will enable them to think critically about data as it is employed in academic disciplines. Students take 1 course of their own choosing from a list of departmental courses that have been approved by a faculty committee to fulfill this requirement. Many students fulfill the requirement with a math course, but students may also elect to satisfy it with designated courses from a range of departments. These include disciplines you might expect, such as applied math, computer science, economics, government, physics, and statistics. It also includes courses in fields such as linguistics, psychology, and sociology. Expository writing. The expository writing requirement, which has existed at Harvard since 1872, ensures that all students learn the fundamentals of analytical argument and strategies of academic writing during their first year of college. Students choose from among several dozen intensive writing courses, each focused on a certain topic or group of issues and providing a substantive intellectual context for academic writing. Based on the results of a written placement exam, Some students are placed into the expository writing studio their first semester before they then take the expository writing course all first years ordinarily complete. A small subset of students complete this requirement by taking a year-long humanities colloquium, which includes weekly instruction in critical writing, writing labs, and individual conferences. Language. To ensure development of a firsthand understanding of linguistic and cultural variety, students are required to demonstrate proficiency in a language other than English. This is the one Harvard College curriculum requirement that students may place out of using either standardized test scores or a campus placement examination. They must otherwise complete a 2-semester sequence of language courses or an intensive summer study abroad program. You might be interested to learn that Harvard offers study in more than 80 languages, including American Sign Language. You may have noticed that while Harvard requires all of its undergraduates complete the Harvard College curriculum, underlying these requirements is a firm belief in the importance of choice. Students are given the opportunity to fulfill each of these 5 degree requirements with courses of their own choosing. General education and expository writing courses have been designed exclusively for these programs, and both programs include offerings on a wide range of topics. For the divisional distribution, quantitative reasoning with data, and language requirements, students are asked to choose among existing departmental courses. This Emersonian notion of education as self-actualization, a concept with deep institutional roots at Harvard, undergirds the curricular choices we offer our undergraduates. Students are encouraged and indeed expected to take responsibility for their own education with guidance and support from academic advisors. Now that I've given you a sense of the institutional context for the program in general education, I would like to tell you a little bit about its origins, since its history has very much informed the program's evolution. The current program in general education originates in the first decade of the 21st century, when the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences initiated a comprehensive re-examination of undergraduate education, since it had been almost 30 years since the last one had been undertaken. This multi-year review led to the establishment of the program in general education in place of the core curriculum, which had resulted from the last comprehensive curricular review 3 decades earlier. In contrast to the core curriculum, which focused on disciplinary ways of knowing, the ambition of the new program in general education was, quote, to enable undergraduates to put all the learning they are doing at Harvard outside as well as inside the classroom, in the context of the people they will be and the lives they will lead after college, end quote. The 2007 report of the Task Force on General Education articulated the program's goals as follows. Prepare students for civic engagement. Teach them to understand themselves as products of and participants in traditions of art, ideas, and values. Prepare students to respond critically and constructively to change and develop their understanding of the ethical dimensions of what they say and do. To achieve these goals, students were required to take one course in each of these 8 categories, which the task force report described in great detail. Aesthetic and interpretive understanding, culture and belief, empirical and mathematical reasoning, ethical reasoning, science of living systems, science of the physical universe, societies of the world, United States in the world. In addition, one of these 8 courses had to engage substantially with the study of the past. The faculty legislation establishing the program passed in May 2007, and the program in general education was launched in 2009. One of the key challenges the program faced was mounting enough courses to meet undergraduate needs. While the original intention was to offer only courses that had been designed explicitly for the program, the pressure to mount enough courses in a timely fashion meant that the program ended up including departmental offerings as well, even though most of these courses were not developed with the philosophical principles of general education in mind. The concluding section of the legislation establishing the program in general education stipulated that a review of the program and its curricular requirements be undertaken within 5 years of its inception. This review process began in spring 2014, when the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences appointed a General Education Review Committee to do this work. After more than a year and innumerable meetings and conversations with students, faculty, and administrators, the committee affirmed the importance of the program in general education to the mission of Harvard College, while expressing serious concerns about the program. The committee was troubled that, despite the program's prominent role in the undergraduate curriculum, it did not play a defining role in the college's identity and was not well understood by students or faculty. The committee was also concerned about the lack of a mechanism for reviewing approved courses. The General Education Review Committee recommended that the 8-course general education requirement be replaced by a new 4-course general education requirement, a 3-course divisional distribution requirement, and a 1-course requirement in quantitative reasoning with data. Their proposal focused and streamlined the program in general education so that it could more clearly implement and reflect its explicit guiding principles. It also acknowledged the importance of knowing about a range of important domains of inquiry. In March 2016, the faculty approved these new requirements, and the renewed program in general education was launched in fall 2019, along with the new college requirements that are all part of the Harvard College curriculum. I have highlighted these on the slide. Rebranding a program that was fairly new was challenging. We focused on creating strong connections with our faculty and providing them with comprehensive administrative and logistical support so that they could focus on teaching. We've been proactive in connecting faculty to campus resources that would strengthen their courses. We've also cultivated a clear, informative, user-friendly web presence that communicates information to students in a transparent and easy to navigate way. Now that I've provided some context for the current program in general education and its place in the Harvard College curriculum, I would like to describe the current 4-course general education requirement. All Harvard College students must take 1 general education course in each of these 4 categories: aesthetics and culture. Courses in this category engage diverse artistic genres and cultural traditions, helping students situate themselves and others as products of and participants in art and culture. Ethics and civics. These courses engage with large questions about right and wrong, helping students grapple with the nature of civic virtue and the ethical dimensions of what they say and what they do. Histories, societies, individuals. Courses in this category engage questions of identity and social change, helping students understand the histories and traditions that they will encounter in a global context. Science and technology and society. These courses engage students in the study of scientific innovations and their social contexts, helping them assess the promise and pitfalls of current and future innovations using methods of scientific inquiry. Students may take one of their 4 general education courses pass-fail with the permission of the instructor. They may not petition for these courses to count for courses to count for general education credit. Only courses approved by the Standing Committee on General Education and offered through the program in general education can be used to fulfill this requirement. There is no rule regarding the timing of these 4 courses. Students may take them at any point during their undergraduate years, although many students end up completing the requirement in their first couple of years. As I mentioned earlier, the program in general education consists of courses that have all been designed specifically for the program. To date, a total of 172 general education courses have been approved over the past few years. General education courses are taught by faculty member from across the Faculty of Arts and Sciences and from virtually all Harvard schools. Most courses are taught by a single instructor, but some are co-taught by a team of 2 or more instructors. At present, there are currently a total of 186 different faculty offering courses in the program in general education. To be eligible to serve as the instructor of record for general education courses, faculty must be tenured or tenure track or hold renewable teaching appointments. This reflects our institutional belief in the central nature of the program in general education and our unwillingness to delegate this work to instructors without long-term affiliations at Harvard. Faculty teach general education courses for a variety of reasons. Many of them are grateful for the opportunity to teach students from all walks of the college. Teaching to a broader audience may bring fresh perspectives to the subjects they study and contribute to new research projects. For some, departmental courses may be small, so the program in general education is an avenue for them to reach more students and possibly inspire more students to choose to concentrate in their academic discipline. For still others, their general education courses may count for either a concentration or secondary field, so they're able to contribute to their department by teaching in our program. Departments may feel a responsibility to contribute to this core part of the Harvard College curriculum, although it is not strictly required of them. Students take general education courses for a variety of reasons. The majority take them to complete their general education requirements, but many take them to fulfill concentration or secondary field requirements. Some students take general education courses purely out of interest in exploring whole new fields of study or learning more about existing areas. Each semester, the program in general education ordinarily offers between 40 to 55 courses, with approximately 10 to 12 courses fulfilling each of these 4 categories. We're careful to ensure that courses satisfying a particular category are offered at a range of different times, which ideally provides all students with an opportunity to fulfill a particular requirement that term, should they so desire. Courses in the program in general education ordinarily consist of 2 75-minute lectures and a 1-hour section led by a graduate student teaching fellow. These sections of 12 to 15 students each provide opportunities for in-depth small group discussion of topics covered in lecture, or for some of our courses, for hands-on work in laboratories or studios. The majority of our courses enroll in the range of 50 to 250 students, although some regularly attract only several dozen students, while a very few courses draw several hundred. Faculty have the option of setting an enrollment limit for pedagogical reasons or for practical reasons, such as the availability of an appropriate classroom or the recruitment of qualified teaching fellows. The minimum enrollment cap is 50 due to our programmatic need to ensure that all undergraduates can fulfill the general education requirement. In fact, because of our need to provide seats for 6,700 students each year, we prefer that faculty do not opt for enrollment limits. Now that I've described these logistical aspects of the program in general education, I would like to tell you more about the courses that make up the program. General education courses are ideally distinguished by the following characteristics. The titles and descriptions of the courses are concept-driven. The courses center on urgent problems and enduring questions. The courses are geared toward non-specialists. They're accessible to students from all walks of the college and are not designed for students with particular disciplinary knowledge. The courses are not introductions to scholarly disciplines, nor are they centered on illustrating the methods of particular disciplines to non-specialist audiences. They may, however, deploy various disciplinary methods in order to elucidate the course concepts. One of the student members of the Standing Committee on General Education described this as teaching through the discipline to larger questions and concerns rather than teaching about the discipline. The courses are unusually explicit in drawing connections between the classroom and the world beyond it, between the subjects students are studying now and the people they will one day become. Such connections may be found in courses on contemporary topics, as well as in aesthetic questions that have a long history, or an artistic genre or other phenomenon that has long engaged humanity. The courses build community and draw on the diversity of experiences and backgrounds of their students. The program in general education offers the only slate of courses that brings together students from different class years, concentrations, perspectives, and backgrounds. For this reason, general education courses prioritize interaction with students and encourage peer-to-peer interchange between students who might otherwise not have an occasion to interact. The courses are as rigorous as any other in the college, with commensurate expectations for student workload, class time, and grading. For some reason, there is a not uncommon student perception that general education courses should be easy. The Standing Committee on General Education feels otherwise, and with the launch of the new program last fall, is working hard to counteract this perception. I'd like to spend a little time now on two distinctive aspects of Harvard College's program in general education: the concept-driven nature of our courses and the connection between the classroom and the world. To help you deepen your understanding of the program, I'll provide some examples of the kinds of urgent problems and enduring questions that are at the core of some of the courses being offered this fall. What makes some texts long-lived while others are ephemeral today and in the past? This enduring question is from a course entitled Texts in Transition, which is co-taught by a faculty member from the history department and one from English. The course examines how texts have been transmitted from the past to the future and delves into how we can plan for their survival. Using the European Renaissance as a central case study, students learn about what makes texts durable by considering especially the media by which they are transmitted, the changing cultural attitudes toward their content, and the institutions by which they are preserved. This course fulfills the aesthetics and culture and the history of society's individual requirements. How can and should we live at the end of the world as we know it? Although originally envisioned as an enduring question, this question at present seems more like the encapsulation of an urgent problem given the current political context in the United States and the global pandemic. It comes from the course Stories from the End of the World, taught by a member of the Harvard Divinity School. Using the age-old genre of apocalyptic literature as its lens, the course explores why imagining the end is so pervasive in contemporary cultures, what ethical choices are put in front of us at the end of the world as we know it, and how we can analyze critically where apocalyptic images are coming from and how they're used in contemporary conversations. This course fulfills the aesthetics and culture requirement. At a time when democracies are collapsing all over the world and when American democracy lies in a state of crisis, what of its future can be learned from its past? This urgent problem is the focus of the course, The Democracy Project, taught by a faculty member from the history department. This course explores the great experiment of democracy in the United States, examining its history with a particular focus on race, immigration, and constitutional justice. Through historical analysis, democratic deliberation, and public-minded projects, students learn to construct a history of the American present. This course fulfills the ethics and civics and the history of society's individuals' requirements. How do pandemics end? This urgent problem is at the center of confronting COVID-19 science history policy, which is a course newly designed for the program. It is co-taught by a faculty member with a joint appointment in the history of science and the Harvard Medical School, and a faculty member from the Harvard Medical School. The course investigates the wide range of questions raised by the pandemic, its impact and significance, and examines how diseases raise fundamental issues for science, policy, and society. Students learn about epidemic diseases and analyze how it shapes and reflects powerful social forces and global systems. This course, which fulfills the science and technology and society requirement, is an archetypical example of how courses can be designed for the program in general education in a way that responds actively to the current moment. You can find a full list of the urgent problems and enduring questions from our fall courses on our website. We're in the process of gathering one-sentence descriptions from the faculty teaching in spring 2021, and we'll be adding them shortly if they're not there already by the time you see this lecture. As I mentioned earlier, general education courses are unusually explicit in helping students connect the subjects they study to the people they will become and to the world beyond the classroom. To support this distinctive feature of the program, faculty often adopt pedagogical approaches and design assignments that explicitly relate the material studied in the classroom to issues and problems of wide concern to undergraduates. This actually originates in part in the curricular review that led to the establishment of the program in general education in the first decade of the 21st century. That review encouraged wider adoption of innovative pedagogical techniques in the program in general education and throughout the curriculum. To give you a clearer sense of the pedagogical approaches that some of our faculty have adopted, I would like to return to the 4 courses I just mentioned. Text in Transition. As you may remember, this course addresses the question of what makes some text long-lived while others are ephemeral today and in the past. This course has a capstone assignment that asks students to select a text they care about and would like to see transmitted in the future, and make it the focus of a multi-week project. In this project, students ultimately explore the pros and cons of different media options for transmission and must consider one digital option and one more traditional print option. Students give an oral presentation in class at the end of the term and also submit an essay version of their presentation, along with a brief reflection paper in which they analyze their preservation decisions and discuss what they learned from the process. Stories from the End of the World. This course asks students to consider how might they and should they live were they to be faced with the end of the world as we know it. After having spent the term looking at a series of cultural products through which authors have engaged with apocalyptic motifs and images, students create their own apocalypse, choosing the medium of their own preference, such as traditional written texts, short videos, podcasts, works of art, or songs. They present an outline or concept of this to their peers in section, then submit a final version along with an explanation of their choices with references to material presented in the course and discussion of a motif or idea that they eventually decided to leave out of the final project. The Democracy Project. In this course, students study the past, present, and future of American democracy through historical analysis, democratic deliberation, and public-minded projects. Since the course is about American democracy, course meetings actually follow democratic forms such as town halls, caucuses, deliberations, and conventions, and there is even an election. Confronting COVID-19, science, history, policy. This course, naturally, is about the current global pandemic, so the connection between the classroom and students' lives is clear. The final assignment for this course asks students to make a 10 to 12-minute podcast addressing an aspect of the COVID-19 pandemic. Since many voices have yet to be recorded at this relatively early stage in the pandemic, students have the opportunity through this assignment to capture some of those perspectives, possibly for sharing publicly on the Harvard Global Health Institute's website or for archiving in a Harvard library for use by future historians. These creative approaches to pedagogy and assignments are by no means evident in all general education courses, but they do seem to be part of a considerable number of them. So now that I have told you about the courses in the program in some detail, I would like to describe the course proposal process. But before I do that, I will briefly tell you about the Standing Committee on General Education, which is responsible for the intellectual and pedagogical oversight of the program. This faculty committee reviews proposals for general education courses, conducts a retrospective review of the previous term's offerings, and advises regarding pedagogical initiatives. Meeting twice monthly throughout the academic year, the committee currently has 3 members from each of the 3 main academic divisions of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences: Arts and Humanities, Social Sciences, and Science and Engineering and Applied Science. It's co-chaired by 2 members from different academic divisions. There are also 3 student members, similarly from a range of academic divisions. The student members do not have voting privileges, but the committee very much values student input and regularly turns to these students for their views on the topic at hand. An associate dean from the Office of Undergraduate Education regularly attends all committee meetings. She and I work closely with the committee co-chairs in what we informally refer to as the Executive Committee, which also holds planning meetings twice each month. The Standing Committee on General Education reviews proposals on a rolling basis throughout the academic year. Tenured and tenure-track faculty and faculty with renewable teaching appointments are eligible to propose courses. Instructors without long-term Harvard affiliations may not. To propose a course for inclusion in the program in general education, we ask that faculty send us the following materials: a course title, a 150 to 250 word student-oriented description of the course they have in mind, a 1-sentence encapsulation of the urgent problem or enduring question the course addresses, a brief summary for the Standing Committee on General Education on how the course satisfies the general principles for what makes a general education course, and a draft syllabus, which should be approximately 3 pages and include course and unit goals, course topics, main readings, and major assignments. Faculty proposing existing courses have the option to instead send a copy of their most recent syllabus, along with a statement about how they would adapt the course for Gen Ed. We intentionally do not ask a faculty member to submit a full syllabus, since planning out an entire course in advance requires a substantial time commitment. The committee considers these questions as it reviews course proposals. Is the course sufficiently concept-driven? Does the course teach through the disciplines to address broad questions or concerns? Is the course accessible to non-specialists? Is there an explicit connection to the world beyond the classroom? Is the course sufficiently rigorous? The committee may choose to accept the course as is, accept the course with revisions, ask the faculty member to revise and resubmit the proposal, or not approve it. In general, the committee is reluctant to reject proposals, since this can inadvertently create enmity, but it does at times choose to reject some. In addition to reviewing course proposals, the Standing Committee on General Education is also responsible for ensuring the overall quality of the courses that make up the program. In the original program, this was done by paying attention to end-of-term course evaluation forms students filled out and reaching out to any faculty whose evaluations were poor. However, as I mentioned earlier, there was no official mechanism for reviewing approved courses or for removing courses from the program entirely. This shortcoming was addressed in March 2016 by faculty legislation, which stipulated that the general education courses be reviewed and reconsidered for reapproval at regular intervals. Last fall, the Standing Committee on General Education planned the first stage of this retrospective course review process, which was undertaken last spring. In the first round of review, the focus was on providing constructive feedback to faculty on refining the fit of the course with the goals of the program. The committee solicited feedback from both faculty and their graduate student teaching fellows, who were asked to reflect on how their courses meet the general education guidelines discussed above, and to articulate the most and least successful aspects of their course. The committee also considered course syllabi, assignment prompts, course evaluations, grade distribution, and enrollment. The faculty from each of the 46 courses offered in fall 2019 received an individualized email identifying areas for improvement. In a couple of cases, the concerns were serious enough to merit a meeting with the co-chairs of the Standing Committee on General Education. While we had originally planned to gather materials from our spring 2020 courses and continue with the retrospective course review this fall, we decided last spring that this would not be considerate of the profoundly difficult circumstances our faculty and our students faced at that time. However, now that we have settled into a quote unquote new normal, we will be resuming the retrospective course review process and looking next semester at this term's offerings. As you all know, 2020 has been a profoundly challenging year. So many have been impacted firsthand by either the global pandemic or the accompanying financial downturn. In mid-March, Harvard College announced that the rapidly worsening local public health situation meant that students could no longer remain on campus and that all courses would have to be online for the remainder of the semester. Many of our faculty were new to Zoom and technologies that enhance teaching and learning, and some of our students went to homes lacking circumstances conducive to online learning. Over spring break, many faculty attended trainings to help ensure they were ready to teach remotely for the remainder of the spring term. In July, it was announced that all college courses would be online for the 2020-2021 academic year, and that only freshmen and upperclassmen without the necessary conditions of remote learning would be invited to campus for the fall term. Accompanying that announcement was an email notifying all faculty that they were expected to attend cohort-based summer training to prepare for remote teaching. In these 4-part workshops, faculty had the opportunity to learn about best practices and to share ideas about how they might redesign their courses. As I mentioned earlier, general education courses ordinarily consist of 2 75-minute lectures each week, plus a 60-minute small group section led by a graduate student teaching fellow. As faculty planned for remote teaching this term, they were given unprecedented leeway in choosing their course format. Some general education faculty chose to retain the standard course format. A subset decided to make lecture attendance optional for students in distant time zones. They required that those students watch the lectures and participate in alternative activities designed to foster their active engagement in the course and integration into the classroom community. Other faculty opted to teach each lecture twice to make their course more accessible to students in different time zones. Still others selected the law school panel model, in which a different subset of students are assigned to attend each class and may be asked to do additional preparation and/or a follow-up assignment. The faculty member leads the live class discussions with a student panel, producing a high-quality recorded discussion, which other students watch asynchronously. As faculty prepared over the summer for the fall term, they were asked to pay particular attention to how they could foster student engagement and interaction in an online environment. General education faculty devised any number of creative solutions to reimagine or add new ways to support interactions with students. Some of our faculty have been offering optional study groups or informal gatherings that do not always focus exclusively on academic topics. Others have been meeting regularly with small groups of students. One faculty member has begun offering students an opportunity to meet individually with her over the weekend and has found that students are more able to carve out time for such meetings then. Many of our faculty have been using Slack to foster informal discussion and interactions beyond the classroom. In all of these instances, faculty have created new ways to build classroom community by designing these contexts where students can interact without being graded. One positive outcome of our online semester is that academics are playing a more central role in our students' lives. Under ordinary circumstances, Harvard College students devote an inordinate amount of time to their extracurricular activities. The lack of a unified campus experience has meant that students' courses have become a more important way for them to connect with their peers. I'm delighted to report that the fall term has gone surprisingly well so far. Our faculty have worked hard to find new ways of engaging students, and general education enrollments were robust this fall despite the dip in overall enrollment. We suspect that this was in part due to the urgent problems and enduring questions general education courses address. We expect the spring semester to be similarly successful. As 2020 draws to a close, it's natural for us to reflect on the year that has passed and to think about the year ahead. As we begin the third decade of the 21st century, our renewed program in general education appears to be on a far more solid footing than the original program. The initial response to the new program has been positive. The program has a clear identity and robust course offerings, and faculty continue to be interested in proposing new courses. Over time, it will be critical for the Standing Committee on General Education to ensure that the program continues to offer excellent courses that serves students well. One of the exciting results of the move to remote teaching and learning is that our faculty have already begun considering how they can incorporate into their in-person teaching some of the benefits of online instruction. One of our faculty members has flipped his classroom this term, meaning that he has pre-recorded the lectures that he would ordinarily give, and he instead devotes class time to actively engaging students in a structured question and answer period. Given the extraordinary student engagement he is experiencing in this new course format, he has already decided that he will continue it once we are back on campus, and he will not go back to delivering lectures twice a week. Another has observed how much he appreciates how Zoom gives him easier access to all his students, and he's musing about how to maintain that sense of nearness once the course has relocated back to a lecture hall. The faculty member who has offered her students the opportunity to meet with her via Zoom on weekends has already decided that she will definitely continue to do this even after in-person instruction has resumed. As the world changes, sometimes in predictable ways and other times in unimaginable ways, the program in general education will have to ensure that it continues to offer courses that address urgent new problems that arise. But what better place could there be to do that than Harvard with its distinguished faculty and wealth of resources? I want to close by thanking you for taking the time to listen to me and by encouraging you to explore our website. I'm eager to know what questions you might have. I wish you the very best for 2021 and beyond. Thank you so much.